So I've got an interesting guest on the RecWired podcast this week, Rich Gibbard. I've known Rich coming up for a couple of years. We met pretty much at the start of the pandemic. He's really helped out our group around sort of direct marketing. Quirky guy, gets real engagement on all the social platforms. So he's going to give his view on what people do well in marketing, what they don't. And yeah, it's really interesting to hear what he thinks of the market. We talk about the job board rises and how to avoid those and what else you can do. So yeah, enjoyable. Hope you enjoyed too. So welcome to the RecWired podcast. It's the first one of these I've done in 2022, just pretty much because it's been a busy start to the year, but I'm delighted to be joined by our friend, the digital marketing expert, Richard Gibbard. So hi Rich, how are you?
Thank you very much for having me. Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. Yeah, things are good. It looks like the economy is starting to get back on track just before, well, it depends actually what happens in Ukraine in the next few days. But it was looking good up until a day or two ago. So staffing market looks good. So things are good all round.
Very good. So, better than the crypto market, mate. That crypto market has done a number on me in the last couple of days. So we're all about recruitment. We're all about marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bitcoin's not paying for your retirement this week, no?
Bastards.
Fair enough. Right, Rich. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, who you are, and what you do.
So my name's Rich Gibbard. Basically, I run a company called Recbound, and what we do is complete and utter outsourced marketing for recruitment agencies. So this includes any kind of outbound marketing, whether you're looking for email, automation, campaign building management, database management, the unsexy side of marketing, I would like to say, but the incredibly functional side of marketing, as well as the sexy side, which is social media, podcast editing, graphic design, all the good looking stuff that you see online that we make look awesome for recruiters. So anything you want from a marketing agency, that's it.
Sounds like you do everything. So, and why only recruiters? What is it you love about recruitment?
My background is in recruitment. So when I finished university, this is a unique story. It only happened to me. It didn't happen to anybody else. No, this has never happened to anybody in the world. Basically, I was in a load of debt and I needed a job with paid commission. So I thought, fuck, I'm just going to go and get a job in recruitment. And it only happened to me. Nobody else has done that. Like, nobody's fallen into recruitment. It's always been a proper career choice. So I was in recruitment for 10 years. I know it really, really well. And I enjoy everything about recruitment. However, the opportunity was there a few years ago to set up there's a big gap in the market. Recruiters need help with their marketing. Marketing is a huge part of sales. So opportunity for us, really.
So we know each other for nearly 2 years now. And do you remember where we met?
It was this when I was wearing a red rose at the bar, and
that was the second date. But the first time we met.
The first time, yeah, good. Dave Lewis. It was Dave Lewis. Shout out to the OG if you're listening, Dave. But yeah, so he was running the Recruiters Lunch Club, wasn't he?
He was. I think Dave basically put up the bat signal and said anybody who's literally got nothing to do because their business has fallen off a cliff, come and bring your lunch and we can all talk about it on a Wednesday afternoon. And it was pretty decent stuff actually. There's some really, really interesting people in that group.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we got into poker. I'm sure it very quickly, swiftly moved on to poker as well.
Yeah, we did. So back in the day, pandemic poker, but Rec Poker, that was it. Founded by Barry Cullen, and it just involved lots of drinking and Barry taking all of our money. Which sounds very familiar. So
yeah, some things just don't change. Old habits die hard. So
yeah, but when we did meet, I thought what was really interesting actually was I was starting to work with a number of recruitment agencies when I set up my consultancy. And actually I very much noticed the gap in the market, as you were saying. until firms get to a certain size and then they hire their own sort of people to go in and do it, it's typically left to people who don't really know what they're doing, are not really interested in it, and don't really see the value in marketing and direct marketing. So yeah, I think what's quite interesting is you've definitely got a niche there in terms of adding that value that, you know, for the stuff people just don't need to know how they need to do.
Yeah, I think people see marketing as basically dog pictures, making sure that social media feeds and personal branding stuff. So anything that you see online really is what people see as marketing. And don't get me wrong, that is just one of many tactics that work. And I don't mind seeing a dog picture. If you rely entirely on dog pictures, then you probably struggle a little bit. Whereas recruiters, especially if you're a small business, if you've got under 20 employees, it's very unlikely that companies will know you, and you're going to be in a very competitive environment. Everybody competes against another recruitment agency. So there are other marketing tactics that work for recruitment agencies, and a lot of that really is around outbound. But you know, it's not a sexy side of marketing, but it works incredibly efficiently.
Typically, how would someone build their personal profile though? If you've got any good hacks, any good tips on what to do? Someone who hasn't invested the time in this, or maybe hasn't been on one of these personal branding courses, what can they do?
Yeah, like the thing with personal branding is you've got to figure out two things really: is what kind of person you want to do business with, and how you want to be seen and how you want to come across. My advice is always be authentic and be you. Obviously, you can't be illegal, and I would strongly recommend that you don't do anything that's going to offend people. You can if you want to, but to be incredibly divisive, you have to keep up that shtick for a long time. But figure out the types of people that you want to do business with, and then create an absolute shed load of relatable content that is helpful, useful, entertaining, funny, interesting, all that kind of good stuff. So, and a lot of the time as well is just interact with them. So that's where I'd start, is really figure out who it is that you'd like to do business with.
I think one of the things I've seen is about keeping it consistent as well. There's no good you just posting everything for a week, then going dark for 2 months, and then having another go at it. I think you've got to turn up, be consistent. It's not only about your own stuff; it's about commenting on other people's and adding to the debate and adding value elsewhere. I did really like your video that you put out about recruitment and the golf swings. That was pretty good. You got like how many views on that, or likes or comments?
So I've had a couple recently. One, that golf video's had nearly 250,000 views. It had just under 2,000 likes and that lot. The reason why that was went well is probably a couple of reasons. One, my target market, the people that I want to work with, they like golf. A lot of them would like to spend some time on the golf course, so that's that. Number two, it was so number one, it's made it relatable. Number two is it was 10 seconds, so it's incredibly easy to digest. And number three is probably a little bit tongue-in-cheek, as in nobody really didn't take myself too seriously when doing it. And it was nice to see Bullhorn nicked it, so thanks very much, Bullhorn. But
they credited it to you in the end.
Yeah,
maybe they'll come and buy you.
Maybe there's open for ideas, Bullhorn. Open for ideas. But yeah, there's that one, and then there was another one. There's like a plane, basically model aeroplane taking off and crashing, and then setting fire to itself in the end. That had 500,000 views, 5,000 sort of interactions and stuff. And again, it's less than 10 seconds. It's very easy to digest and very relatable. Maybe not the airplane, but the ups and downs in recruitment is very relatable for everybody. So that's where they've done well.
So talk me through, either you're the genius behind it or one of your team is. So talk me through how you come up with that concept, that idea. You sat there literally thinking, I need to come up with something funny, or have you just got loads of brilliant stuff just in the pipe?
It's what I have realised is, and I don't know how to say this without coming across like an utter arsehole, is that I am quite immature and I do find most things quite funny. And so if I'm scrolling through my feed, so I do follow sort of meme pages, I do go onto Reddit, I do find other things that are funny and relatable, like, things that happen in the news all the time. There is things that can be made into recruitment related stuff. And I look at things and I've always got one eye on how will my market interact with this? How can I make this marketing related? How can I make this recruitment related? Is this funny? And if I find it funny, then the people who I want to do business with will probably find it funny as well.
So unlike Insta and Twitter, LinkedIn likes don't generally pay pounds and the bills. So how do you translate those? How would a company translate those likes, those views into ultimately what we want, which is sales?
See, it's a funny one, how the way that's at. So out of those two posts, they've had sort of 750,000 views, 7,000 in likes, and plus hundreds of comments and stuff. I think I'll be very surprised if I could turn around and say that business has come directly from that post. But what would happen is my next post, or I would have written on the comments, is, are you struggling with your marketing? Here's a checklist, or here's a free download guide. And so if all I do is post jokes and post memes, then I think people might see me as a bit of a joke. However, if I'm where it has turned into revenue, and possible to do, is by backing it up with useful, helpful, and basically helpful information that's presented in an easily digestible way.
I think I saw an article by Andrew McCaskill the other day. He said 60-20-20 was probably the way to go. So sort of 60%, i.e., break it down. Let's make it quite simple for everyone. If you're going to post 5 times a week, 3 times on sort of comment on the industry, on things you see. One day, 20% on a personal post. That's where you post a picture of your dog. And another one, as you say, that just sort of anchors, actually, this is what I do. I'm not just a bloke who posts about things and posts my pictures of my dog. This is actually what I do as well. So getting that nice sort of balance. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can't all be all boring, because it's not interesting. It can't all be all fun, because where's the value? So a healthy mix. 60-20-20 sounds like a great, it sounds like an absolutely dream number for you to stick by. So give it a go. Absolutely.
Actually, if it truly recruitment, would be 60-40-20-20, because you should always give 120%.
I think you've just done 140% there, but we can edit that out afterwards if you want to.
No, it's fine. I think you go back and check it. It'll be fine. You'll be suitably embarrassed. So okay. So I'm not great at marketing. I phone Rich Gibbard. What do you do for me? I mean, I'm not running a recruitment business, but typically if I was, and I'm either starting fresh. I think you work with early stage startups, but also as well, if I'm at that sort of stage where I've not got a marketing department. And I guess, do you do the bigger firms that already have marketing departments and sort of supplement those bits that they don't want to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that you can't replace in marketing, and that is capturing the moment stuff. So, for example, if it's somebody's walking in the door and they are dressed in winter outfits and they look silly, whatever it is, or it's somebody's birthday, it's very hard sometimes for an outsourced marketing agency to capture that moment, or when somebody's just done a deal, or somebody's on the phone and they're incredibly happy. It's very hard to bring somebody in externally and capture that, because the moment's already passed. So you always do need somebody internally, I think, championing what it is like at the culture. The culture is incredibly important for recruiters and recruitment agencies. So, but yeah, we do support, whether it is external in terms of content generation, or they need help with social media, or just basically getting on the database and sorting out lists, or doing the whole shebang. We can find a way to slot in depending on what an agency's goals are. The number one thing is what it is that you want from the business. What's your mission? Where do you want to get to? And how can marketing support you?
What's always really interesting for me actually is the difference in an agency's customer proposition and their employee proposition, and how they sort of fuse that. Almost, the pictures on the website where we're all being professional, consultative, taking a job spec at the client site, and then literally absolutely off our faces in Ibiza on the come join us on the job page site. So what's your advice for companies trying to fuse that those two very distinct messages together?
Yeah, if you're off your face on Ibiza, try not to put that online. That would be, no, I don't know, actually. It depends on how you want to come across as a business. If you're a business owner and you want people in your business, you've identified the best people in your business are those ones that work from 7 in the morning till 10 at night, and then at the weekend, you do not know where and you don't even know where they go. All you want to do is know that they will arrive back Monday safe and sound at 7 in the morning. Then that's how you have to come across. If you want people who are incredibly straight-laced, unbelievably professional, and you see this with finance a lot, and HR, legal, and you see them wearing suits and ties. But the reality is that they only put that picture on for the headshot. Otherwise, they're out getting leathered. So it just depends on how you want to come across and the types of people you want to attract. And you adjust your messages and you adjust your images accordingly, really.
So what's the big trend in marketing at the moment? What should everybody be doing? Or what's the new great thing? If you could say to people, this has really started to come big in the last 6 months, what would it be?
I think it has gone a full circle a little bit with certainly with recruitment, is communities. The number one thing is community right now. You can send out as many emails as you like. You can send out thousands of emails. Realistically, you'd be lucky if you would send out 100 emails, if you get 10 back, you've done amazingly well. What about the other 90? And so this is where what recruiters, I think, should be focusing on as well, is how to build a community. You look at the RecWired group in terms of how can you get like-minded individuals together, sharing problems and solving each other's problems. And I think that's probably where it's basically referral marketing, but on steroids, really, that's the next step.
Yeah, what's been really good about RecWired, so for those who don't know, RecWired, we have 3 groups for recruiters: the Dinghy, the Bridge, and the Bounty. And so the Dinghy is the smaller group, the Bridge the middle group, and the Bounty is the top group in terms of sort of company size. Again, most of the noise is in the Dinghy. The smaller guys all sort of sharing those hints and tips. But yeah, I mean, for me, how. And especially, some of this obviously has come from the work you've done with the groups, but how, these guys can really punch above their weight with the automation, with the outreach, and really, for a micro company, look like a big corporation that can be having a permanent conversation with candidates and clients alike.
Yeah, recruitment's funny like that, because with due respect to a lot of recruiters out there, nobody will ever turn around and say, "Oh, you need to deal with, you need to deal with S3." Nobody will turn around and say, "Oh, S3 are the companies to go to." What they will say is, "You need to go to speak to," and then name the person who works there or their consultant that placed them in a job or filled the job. They'll very, very rarely name check the company. They'll always name check the individual, and so that's why, like, community, and like you say, it's important why some of the smaller companies will punch above their weight, is because they're probably more invested in their own name than some of the bigger boys and girls that are hiding behind a brand.
I think that the thing that surprised me, though, is it does take time to build that community, and you've got to see it very much as a long-term investment. I was having a discussion with someone today, and they're looking at sort of working back. They've been doing some other stuff, but they're looking at coming back and building a contracts business. And pretty much said, is it still the same? You speak to candidates, speak to managers, you get leads come in, you strip CVs, you take references. And I'm like, yeah, I believe it absolutely is. But also while you're doing that as well, you're building that community, you're building that inbound as well. So, you have to start somewhere on these things, but you're pretty much eating that hot dog from both ends, that while you're building your community, still there is that room in the market for hard graft as well. And I guess, maybe again, being very, working in a niche, understanding your data and using that data to maximum effect, albeit from an outreach or then an inbound level. I guess that never goes out of fashion.
No, like being helpful, adding value, and entertaining are three things that will just never get boring. Recruiters are incredibly impatient. It's the most impatient bunch you'll ever meet. So they want results yesterday, which I totally understand, that building a community, you won't get results on it today. But it's like anything, you don't go on a plot of land and expect a builder just to build a house without any direction. You do need the blueprints in there. And then when the house is built, such a cheesy analogy, I'm so sorry. But when the house is built and it's where you need it to be, looking how you want it to look, then all of a sudden, all that graft of building pays off, but it takes time. So that's the thing with communities, is you have to be willing to invest not only the resources to add value, but also the time to make it work, which is where you're seeing the benefits now out of I suppose the three groups is well over a year in, and people are desperate to get into it because you get more value from each other and from those groups than you do in any other groups, really.
Yeah, no, it's very kind of you to say so. So what are your predictions for the year? What's going to happen in the recruitment market?
Everybody finds Canva. Everybody uses the same templates. Everybody goes insane because Canva takes over the whole world. And then people realize that picking up the phone still does work, and it still adds value by actually calling people.
For me, it's going to be about candidate acquisition. It was the theme for last year. It's still the theme for this year. What's quite interesting is we've obviously got our friends at Total Jobs committing Harry Carey and clearly saying that they want agency business. So faced with a 400 to 500% price rise, would you continue with these guys, or would you do something else?
So the serious answer is, yeah, absolutely. The number one challenge that every recruiter has is candidate. And I cannot believe, I get price rises. I totally get price, as I said from the outset.
There's price rises and there's price explosions.
Yeah, there's just, it's just stupid.
And actually, I think the thing to do is invest in your technology first, then charge more for it when you get results. Not tell people you're paying for our best technology.
I wonder if they've got one client or two clients where they've had decent ROI on, or the clients have had a decent ROI from Total Jobs, because a load of recruiters were already umming and ahhing about job boards already. So this is just like a big stick just to shove them off the edge of the ship. It's just
We saw it before with Indeed when they wanted to go to the direct hirers, and I think actually you're seeing with the rise of the internal recruiters as well. You're seeing companies really going at that, paying good salaries, etc., etc. So I'm just wondering whether it's to push the agencies off, but it seems pretty short-sighted.
Well, this is the thing for Total Jobs is, apart from a jobs, what else can you add? You've got LinkedIn job boards, but you've also got the networking side of LinkedIn. So there is, plus the groups and messages. So you've got a lot of value from LinkedIn. When it comes to Facebook, depending on your market, but certainly for local types of jobs, Facebook jobs, Facebook advertising, similarly with Instagram advertising, is so much better because it's incredibly targeted. Apart from what I don't understand with Total Jobs is there is no desire for people to go there at all. If you're desperate for a job,
unless you're looking for a job and you end up there through a Google search.
But then they're up against Indeed, they're up against Reed, they're up against all the other job boards and the other platforms. And plus, if you were to search for jobs, the very first thing that comes up at the top is Google Jobs, as in, that. So, and so which they will automatically put those further down the list, because then, various indexing, this, that, and the other. So yeah, no, interesting move from Total Jobs. We'll see how they get on in a year. Can't see it working out for them at all.
And for those fans of the League of Gentlemen as well, I've just got that vision of Facebook's local job for local people as you walk into Royston Vasey. So, yeah, I think a buoyant year ahead. Hopefully, this continues, and we don't go through that massive boom bust cycle. And I think it's a really good time to invest in your marketing. What I find about firms is there's often never a good time to invest in infrastructure. It's either the middle of the pandemic and they need to bill, or they're billing so well they haven't got time to do it, and the opportunity cost. But I think the sun is shining, fix the roof. And if you've not got good marketing processes on board, you'll come in, do an audit for people. Well, you're rich, go and have a look, tell them what they need, and then be the classically sell them what you can do.
Oh yeah, I definitely wouldn't sell anybody anything. Just go in there, just help. But I think the most important thing is consistency. You touched on it before. It's funny, like we did probably about 2-3 months worth of work for somebody. They're in construction recruitment, and this was probably about October time. And the amount of revenue that they've come back just from emails is an incredible amount of ROI that's come back from them. Similar with an engineering recruiter up in Manchester, probably about a year or so ago now. They could absolutely pin an extra £400,000 worth of revenue. Wow. Just on simple processes that are repeatable week in, week out, without fail. And so this is the thing with marketing, is everybody's got a good idea for a post. Everybody's got a good piece of content. Is how can you be relentlessly consistent with what it is that you're posting? That's the online version. How can you be relentlessly consistent with your emails? How can you be relentlessly consistent to a good standard with how you're interacting with your candidates and clients? So that's where we can help.
Well, look, I think, it's another bumper year for you. I know you're going to grow the team. You're already at, I think, 7 people, and I'm quite sure you'll be looking for bigger offices soon anyway. So you've been a great help to, I think, the groups. You've certainly been a great help to RecWired. You really helped me out at Recbound as well, getting the message out there as well. And you're an all right bloke as well. I'd just like to put it out there. So, thanks a lot. Where can people find you? I mean, obviously, if you're doing the personal branding, people will struggle to avoid you. But if they had to go looking for you after this, how can they find you, Rich?
You will either find me on LinkedIn, which I'm always hanging around on LinkedIn. So do drop me a message. I'm the only person. I'd be very surprised if there are any other Gibbards. There are a few. But if I'll be on LinkedIn, so go on there, or I'm always hanging around on WhatsApp. My mobile number's on there as well. So just drop me a WhatsApp if it's easier, and just anyway, just to see how I can help.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rich. Have a great year, and we'll do this again soon.
Thank you very much.